couple of friends of mine had no idea. And it was funny because
Okay, we all set? Is he still just having a show out there?
Yeah,
told me
no,
that
he's
seniors
wrapping it up. He's got Reverend
football
Wanamaker
call,
with
why
him.
can't we do
But
it?
I said, you gotta wrap
This
it
kind
up. I
of-
said, we gotta, he should
Really?
be out there anyway.
was like-
We'll take care
I
of that.
didn't see him. He wasn't there when I came in before. I would have said something to him then.
And then everyone makes a decision
Kind
to
of
either
Marcus
show
was
or
on drummer.
I haven't met him, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Well, when
Okay.
you meet him, he's a very, very nice man. But he'll shoo your ear off.
Yep.
you know, they would think.
All right, we all set then?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting will come to order. Welcome to the fall session of Norton's annual town meeting. I'm Bill Guevara, I'm your town moderator. To my right is Lucia Longhurst, our town clerk. To my left are the chairman and vice chairman of the finance committee. And at the table in front are a bunch of people who wandered in off the street. We don't know who they are. No, actually, these are our town officials, our selectmen, our school committee, our town manager, our school superintendent, our town council, and several other very important people. And thank you for coming tonight. We'd like to start the meeting by asking you to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, in keeping with our tradition, I'd also like to introduce, I believe we only have one of our legislative people here who have come to visit us, one of the people that helped take care of us at the legislature. I'd like to introduce, wherever he may be standing there, up there he is, State Senator Paul Feeney. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go over a few of the rules for tonight before we get too far in. I guess I don't have to ask everybody to please find a seat and not stand in the back. There seem to be a plethora of seats. Could you also make sure you please turn all your electronic devices to silent? If you are not a registered voter in the town of Norton, you are welcome here, but you must sit in a section over here that are marked as non-voters. If you are a registered voter, please don't sit in that section, because if you do and you vote, your vote will not be counted, and you wouldn't like that, and neither would we. If you wish to address this meeting, you must do so only after being recognized by the moderator. There are 2 microphones in the back aisle, and there is 1 microphone down here at the podium. Please move to one of those and wait to be recognized if you wish to speak on any article. When speaking, please identify yourself by name and address for the record so the clerk can record that. Please try to keep your remarks brief and to the point, and confine them only to the matter that is under consideration at the time. All speakers at this meeting tonight will be treated with courtesy and respect by the moderator and by everyone else in the room. No speakers will be allowed to use the meeting for personal attacks on any individual. All remarks will be directed towards the moderator, and while I will allow cross-questioning, I don't want to allow any cross-examination types of things that we get into, and I always say that, and we always do. In recognizing people to speak, I will attempt to call on those who have not yet spoken on a topic before I recognize someone who has already spoken on that topic. So if you have already spoken and you get in line again on the same topic, and I skip over you and recognize the person behind you, it's nothing personal. I'm just trying to give those who have already spoken on that item the chance to speak before we let people speak for the second time. If a standing vote is required, you'll figure it out. You'll stand when you're told, and you'll sit down when you're all done, and that'll be a lot of fun. If a ballot vote is required, we'll come to that later. If you wish to make any amendment to any motion, you must do so in writing and present it to the moderator and the town clerk. Please prepare your amendment in writing and bring it up here. If you are moving an article that has not been recommended and moved by the Finance Committee, you must also present that motion to the town clerk in writing. I remind you that no motion to reconsider any article will be accepted by the moderator until at least 3 articles after it have been acted upon. If the article is one of the last 3 on the warrant, then I'll accept the motion to reconsider at any point. reason we do this, and again, I always stress this, it's important because it has happened in the past. You vote on Article 4. I don't even know what Article 4 is, but you vote on it. It's very important to you. You stay, you get involved in the debate. It passes, you're very happy, and you go home. And then after we act on Article 8, someone who has left, someone who is still here stands up and says, I move to reconsider Article 4. And half of the Article 4 supporters have gone home thinking it's all over. And now you stand up and they vote to reconsider it, and we vote on Article 4 again. And you wake up tomorrow, you read the newspaper, and you find out that Article 4 has lost. And you call the moderator and yell at him, and he laughs and tells you it's not my fault, it's yours. There may be requests this evening to have non-residents speak. If there are, that requires a vote of the meeting. That's totally up to you people, but I would remind you that sometimes non-residents have valuable information that we need for certain things, and I advise you to keep an open mind in most cases. Having gone through all that, I turn to the town clerk. Madam Clerk, has there been a return on this warrant?
Mr. Moderator,
Pull that up.
I have served this warrant by posting attested copies at Chartley Post Office, Norton Post Office, Norton Municipal Center, Norton Public Library, and 3 other public places within the limits of said town, 7 days at least before the time of holding said meeting. Attest, Michael J. Mayer, Constable of Norton, October 4th, 2018.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now proceed to the warrant. Article 1.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $352.32 from free cash for the following unpaid bills for which obligations were incurred in the prior fiscal year. $210 for planning, Massachusetts Municipal Association, and $142.32 also for planning for advertisement in the Sun Chronicle.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this article seeks to approve payments for bills incurred in a prior fiscal year. Under state law, and one of the wonderful quirks of our system, that requires a 4/5 majority vote in order to pass. I will attempt to, if I receive a unanimous vote, then that will be accepted as a 4/5. Anything beyond a unanimous vote, we will have to have a standing count. Is there any discussion or questions or comments on Article 1? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 1, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 1 passes unanimously as declared by the moderator. Article 2. Article 2. Article 2 is declared lost for lack of a motion by the moderator. I don't really have to bang the gavel, but it's almost the only time I get to do it, and it makes me feel very important. Article 3.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote, wait a sec. Move the town vote to amend the vote taken under Article 10 of the May 14th, 2018 annual town meeting warrant by increasing appropriations for certain line items and as funding thereof to raise and appropriate the amount of $148,000 and to transfer the amount of $627,122 from free cash for a total of $775,122.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice that these amounts differ from what is printed in your warrant. That was due to last-minute changes that were presented to the Finance Committee, I believe, either this evening or the other day.
Mr. Moderator, this
Chairman.
evening we had to revote for an additional $73,000 for the Southeastern Regional Voc Tech assessment to the town. The other items, I believe, are as printed. The majority of the items, 147,510, actually, back up, 210, 510 police, 220, 510 fire, 290, 510 communications. Those are all for overtime that was removed at the annual town meeting. And we are being asked to put it back in. The school has requested for materials $283,440, K through 5 services $61,275, and professional development $24,115.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, as the motion indicates, this is basically adding money that is available to the town budget that was approved in May, and adding now that your town officials believe they have more information and are more sure of the budget numbers, and so these are the changes they're recommending. Are there any questions, comments on Article 3? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 3, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Article 3 passes by unanimous vote as declared by the moderator. Article 4. Oh boy. Article 4. I get to bang the gavel again. Article 4 is declared lost for lack of a motion by the moderator. Article 5. Article 5. Can't tell you how exciting this is. Article 5 is declared lost for lack of a motion by the moderator. Article 6.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $900,000 from free cash for the Capital Improvements Fund established by the bylaw entitled Capital Improvements Fund, from which appropriations may be made by a 2/3 vote at any town meeting.
thank you. Mr. Chairman, can you just explain briefly to the people what the Capital Improvements Fund is?
That is a fund from which large capital expenditures, the money would come from. And, you know, we try to keep a certain amount of money in it for emergencies and for ongoing expenses of the town. And so $900,000 to be moved into that account.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Article 6? Any questions or comments on Article 6? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 6, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 6 passes by unanimous vote as declared by the moderator. Article 7.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to appropriate the total amount of $563,850 and amend the fiscal year 2019 capital improvements budget appropriated under Article 12 of the May 14th, 2018 annual town meeting to pay costs of purchasing or leasing with an option to purchase for periods up to or in excess of 3 years, new and/or replacement capital items for various town departments and for payments of all costs incidental and related thereto. All as follows, and as funding thereof, to transfer the amount of $479,850 from capital improvements account and $84,000 from the ambulance reserve fund as printed under Article 7 in the October 15th, 2018 annual town meeting warrant with Finance Committee recommendation.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this article involves transferring money from the capital improvements account, and therefore, under our bylaws, will require a 2/3 majority vote for approval. And the list of replacements is as printed in the document you have. Is that correct, everybody?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on Article 7? Any questions or comments on Article 7? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 7, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 7 passes by unanimous vote, as declared by the moderator. Article 8.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $42,500 from free cash to fund the cost of the engineering, design, and procurement services phase of the conversion of the town's existing streetlight system to an LED streetlight network, including but not limited to consulting, technical, and/or professional services, and all other incidental and related costs and expenses associated therewith. This is basically a study of what streetlights the town is currently funding and to study how the improvements that would be made under LED lighting.
thank you. Are there any questions or comments concerning Article 8? Who says we don't get along? Seeing no hands, all those in favor of Article 8, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 8 passes by majority vote, as declared by the moderator. Article 9.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $520,000 from water retained earnings for the purpose of planning, design, and construction for approximately 1,100 feet of water main, apparatus, and trench pavement in Home Street and East Main Street, and for related legal, administrative, and all other pertinent expenses associated with the project, to expend all funds available for this project, including all incidental and related costs.
thank you. And I will recognize our Water Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is pretty much just what it says. We are proposing to replace 1,100 feet of existing cement asbestos water main that's been problematic over the years. Between our retained earnings and a couple of other funding sources, this will be enough to do it. It's $520,000.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Article 9? Any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 9, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 9 passes by unanimous vote, as declared by the moderator. Article 10.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to appropriate the amount of $2,700,000 for the purpose of planning, design, and construction of approximately 6,100 feet of water main, apparatus, and trench pavement in Pine Street extending from well number 1 to Plain Street, and for related legal, administrative, and all other pertinent expenses associated with the project, to expend all funds available for this project, including all incidental and related costs, and to further that to meet the appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, be authorized to borrow the sum of $2,700,000 pursuant to General Law, Chapter 44, Subchapter 7 or 8, or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes therefore, such bonds or notes to be general obligations of the town unless the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, determines that they should be issued as limited obligations and may be secured by local system revenues, provided further, however, that it is anticipated that all funds needed to repay the principal and the interest on such borrowing shall be paid from the Water Enterprise Fund, and in accordance with General Law 44, Subchapter 20, authorize any premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the costs of issuance of such bonds or notes, to be applied to the payment of costs approved hereunder, thereby reducing by a like amount the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this article authorizes borrowing on behalf of the town, and under the rules, that will require a 2/3 majority vote. And I will recognize our water commissioner again.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Very similar thing, just significantly more pipe. This is just over a mile of pipe. It's 6,100 feet of pipe. This is, again, a problematic area in town. The existing pipe serving this area is in unlined cast iron pipe, not what we're using today. These days, we're using clay-lined cast iron pipe. To put it quite simply, the clay doesn't absorb or grab any of the many minerals which exist in our water. Huge improvement. And again, because there's more footage of pipe, this is significantly more money, $2.7 million. We're borrowing it, so it does need that percentage of approval.
Thank you. Are there any, excuse me, are there any questions or discussion on Article 10? Any questions, comments on Article 10? Someone pointing? Oh, yes, sir. Can you come to a microphone, sir, so we can hear you? I know you're in like the worst possible place to come to a microphone, but. No, sir, they can't. We're on TV, and I get yelled at when I don't have people talking to the microphone. I hate being yelled at. Thank you, sir.
Well, this will probably be an ongoing thing with other pipe from the town, too?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, what we're doing, the prior article number 9, if I may, Mr. Moderator?
Yeah, and could I just ask, sir, can we have your name and address so that the
Oh,
clerk?
yeah, Fred Brown, Meadow Way.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The prior article creates a loop at our town line with Easton. Out there's a little triangle, which is Home Street.
Oh, yes.
Over by the Norton Glen. So that one loops, improves the size of a main, and makes it more easily flushable when we do our fall and spring flushing. And this one is a top priority because of the existing unlined cast iron main, which is over 100 years old. It's an early 1900s type of pipe. We have far better, superior products now, and this is...
Probably should have been changed before, huh?
Well, this is at the top of our list. We have ongoing projects. You may have seen the one over on Reservoir Street. That one's ongoing. In the spring, we have a report coming from our consulting engineers detailing the remaining ones in a prioritized order. These are the top 2. They're very easy for us as water sewer commissioners and the superintendent to select because they've been problematic over the years. The first one, again, creates a loop, and the second one is such a long line of, a long length of unlined cast iron pipe. These will significantly improve water service and quality to that area.
Yes. There's a lot of people that are suffering with that, I guess.
Absolutely.
All right, I think that's about all I had to ask.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or comments on Article 10? Seeing none. I remind you again, this is a 2/3 majority vote. All those in favor of Article 10, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 10 passes by majority, 2/3 majority vote as declared by the moderator. Article 11.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to authorize the Norton Housing Authority to grant to the Norton Water and Sewer Commission a permanent easement on land of the Norton Housing Authority located at 120 West Main Street in said Norton, commonly referred to as the Woodland Meadows Residential Development, located on the southerly side of West Main Street for the construction, operation, and maintenance of a sewer pump station, together with such permanent sewer line easements, utility easements, and access easements and temporary construction easements as may be necessary to provide for operation and maintenance of a pump station and sewer line connections, as approximately shown on a plan by Weston and Sampson entitled Proposed Easements on Norton Housing Authority Property, dated August 1st, 2018, a copy of which is on file with the town clerk, as said plan may be amended from time to time, including all incidental and related expenses associated with the project. And I believe this is associated with the West Main Sewer Project discussed at the annual town meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Water Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The Finance Committee Chairman is correct. This is a portion of land that the Water Sewer Department needs an easement over, exactly what it says, to construct, access, and maintain a pump station on the Housing Authority property over there. And it's detailed by a plan.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Article 11? Seeing no hands, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of Article 11, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 11 is approved unanimously as ruled by the moderator. Article 12. Don't tease me. Article 12. Article 12 is declared lost for lack of a motion by the moderator. By the way, before we go to Article 13, the Board of Selectmen doesn't always get the credit they deserve, so I want to take a moment and let you all realize that when they scheduled this meeting months ago, the Board of Selectmen were wise enough to schedule it on an off night of the Red Sox ALCS Championship Series. So congratulations to the Selectmen. That was an excellent job. Article 13.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to approve Article 13 as printed in the warrant, provided, however, that the plan reference set forth therein shall be revised by inserting after the words dated August 30th, 2018, the following, and revised October 9, 2018, and further that no funds shall be appropriated. So it is as printed in the warrant, but 12 lines down from the beginning, where you see August 30th, 2018, it was revised on October 9th, 2018.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, to spare you one of us reading this whole motion, the motion is as it appears in your document, with the exception that the date, which on your printed matter appears as August 30th, 2018, is changed to October 9th, 2018. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that... What is this motion? We're going to explain it. We're going to get to it in just a second. Okay, and this is, in essence, a revoting of a motion that was approved at a prior town meeting, but there have been changes that occurred that require it to be revoted. Maybe I can ask our town manager, Mr. Units, to explain the details of it. Mr. Town Manager.
This is part of the Route 123 road improvement project that'll be going out to bid this coming summer. And the town meeting previously funded money for easement acquisition. And with that, there was a plan on file. Since then, there have been some updates to the plans. The last one we got, they were waiting for a forester to come out and look at the trees, and there were 2 trees they wanted to save, so they slightly changed 2 easements, which changed the plans, so there's now a revised date. So we have to revote to recognize this revised date, because those are the plans we'll now be going by when we do all the takings and easements.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on Article 13? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 13, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed. Article 13 passes by unanimous vote as declared by the moderator. Article 14.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $15,000 from free cash to retain a consultant for solar electric procurement support services in the development of solar strategies, including but not limited to management of the procurement and installation of a solar photovoltaic system, technical assistance, and all other incidental and related costs, expenses, and professional services associated therewith. And I believe this is associated with a property, the Water Department property off of John Scott Boulevard.
Mr. Town Manager.
The selectmen are interested in seeing if we can install a solar voltaic system on the Slattery property. As a lot of you know it, down at 166 John Scott Boulevard behind the Water and Sewer Department. This is similar to what we did on the Hill Street landfill, which has been very successful for the town. We receive $80,000 in rent money every year from the solar developer, a $40,000 pilot every year, and energy credits. And just the latest in September, our energy credits from that facility were $34,324, and the previous month was $60,548. So we're receiving a great benefit from that solar facility, and we want to see if we can do the same on the Slattery property.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Article 14? Seeing no hands, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor of Article 14, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed. Article 14 passes by unanimous vote as declared by the moderator. Article 15.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to approve Article 15 as written in the October 15th, 2018 annual town meeting warrant with Finance Committee recommendations. This is basically to allow the Board of Selectmen to study the feasibility and the oversight of open-air parking within the town.
Thank you. Mr. Town Manager.
This has come up over the last few years. We've had a lot of issues down on Route 140 during concerts at Xfinity Center. And Without this statute, we have no enforcement capabilities. We have parking lots down there where the people continue to ignore orders from the fire department about the number of cars they can have in their lot so that there's safe access around the cars. There's issues with neighbors abutting some of these parking lots. And this would allow the selectmen to develop rules and regulations that we can use in order to regulate and enforce the law with these parking lots. Right now, they know we don't have this statute, and so they can totally ignore whatever we say. There's no enforcement capability. And this isn't to regulate someone that is parking 2 or 3 cars in their yard. This is really for some of the larger lots down there. And it has no impact on any existing businesses, retail establishments. We're not regulating that type of parking. This would be strictly for parking for down by the entertainment facilities.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Article 15? Anything on Article 15? Seeing no hands. All those in favor of Article 15, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 15 passes by unanimous vote, as declared by the moderator. Article 16.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to amend the town's personnel bylaws to include the position of payroll and benefits administrator under job classification, and by adjusting the salary plan as written in the October 15th, 2018 annual town meeting warrant with Finance Committee recommendations. This is basically just a slight adjustment to the majority of, not the majority, a significant number of positions within the town.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, these changes are as printed in your warrant. This is not a money article. It is approving the ranges for these positions, which has to be done if contracts have been negotiated and people have to be paid. It's merely establishing the range for each position. Are there any questions or comments on Article 16? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 16, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed. Article 16 is approved by a majority vote, as declared by the moderator. Article 17.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman.
I move that the town vote to request that the town manager or the manager's designee provide for the timely posting on the town website of contracts with town personnel. This article is basically asking that the town website include any personnel contract that the town has entered into to be posted on the website for anybody to view.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on Article 17? Okay, I would note for the record that this is basically a sense of the meeting resolution and does not necessarily require a binding action by anyone. This is merely the meeting expressing its opinion to the authorities on what they would like done. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 17, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 17 passes by majority vote, as declared by the moderator. Article 18. Article 18. One more time. Article 18 is declared lost for lack of a motion. Article 19.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $90,000 from free cash to the other post-employment benefits liability trust fund established to cover the unfunded actuarial liability for retirees' health care and life insurance benefits. Basically, funding an account for which we're obligated to pay at some point as people retire.
thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Article 19? Anything on Article 19? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 19, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Article 19 passes by majority vote as declared by the moderator. Article 20.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chairman,
I move that the town vote to transfer the amount of $300,000 from free cash to the stabilization fund in accordance with General Laws 40, subsection 5B. Basically transferring money into our rainy day fund.
are there any questions on Article 20? Any comments or questions? Okay, before we take the vote on Article 20, since it's our final article, let me just thank the people who did turn out here tonight for coming out and doing your civic duty. The other people in town could learn a lot from you. Thank you for being involved and for making the system work and making it possible. Especially Peter. All those in favor of Article 20, please indicate by raising your hands. All those opposed? Article 20 passes by majority vote. And I'll recognize Mr. Kimball for the purpose of making an announcement.
Thank you all for coming tonight. We'd like to introduce Mr. Paul Giuseppe. He's our new planner here in town. We've got 4 boards outside. We're in the process of doing a study on the town center. I know you guys all love those traffic lights. We're trying to come up with a better plan through SERPED to come up with a better way to do it. So we're looking for your input. We've got maybe so far about 40 people who have responded. But if you have a moment, I know this meeting is getting over a bit earlier than we expected. If you have a moment to go out there, Paul and I would be glad to explain to you what we're trying to do. And we're trying to get some general direction on how to do it. Through a grant with SERPED, we've now been able to come up with 4 different versions of how the town center could look in the future. So you have a few minutes after the meeting, if you could, we really appreciate you coming by and we can show you the details. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's worth noting, for one of the rare occasions an elected official on the state level stayed for our entire meeting. Senator Feeney made the whole meeting. That's pretty amazing. Is there any other business to come before this meeting? Seeing none, I declare the annual town meeting to be adjourned.